Hello, I'm Dr. Vidya Patil, serving as Associate Professor of English at Government First Grade Women's College, Bidar. In today's video, we will try to read and understand the poem To India, My Native Land by Henry Derozio. Whenever we are talking about Indian English literature, we cannot fail to mention about Indian English poetry. The Indian English poets have managed to create their own distinct and unique style of writing poetry. The Indian English poetry is different from the native English poetry in many different ways, such as in the kind of language which has been used, the theme, the imagery, and the subject matters. Henry Derozio is considered to be one of the first Indian English poets. So, it is going to be a great experience to read and understand this poem written by Henry Derozio. To India, My Native Land by Henry Derozio. Henry Derozio was a remarkable poet as well as an extraordinary teacher. He served as the assistant headmaster at Hindu College, Calcutta, which is now known as the Presidency College. He was a radical thinker and one of the first Indian educators who believed in disseminating Western learning and science among the Indian youth. He was the son of an Indian father and an English mother, and so was exposed to both the different kinds of cultures. He was highly influenced by the English Romantic poets, and he began writing and publishing poems at the young age of 17. He was a free thinker par excellence. Derozio encouraged his students not to conform to the medieval notions of morality, and instead he wished that they start thinking and deciding for themselves as intelligent and rational human beings. Henry Derozio was the founder of the Young Bengal movement, which went on to play a very important role in the Indian freedom struggle. Most of his poetry talks about native Indian stories which were told in the Victorian style. He was fiercely patriotic, and many of his poems are nationalistic in style and theme. Some of his important publications were poems in 1827, which included the famous poem The Harp of India as well as Song of the Hindustani Minstrel. Another of his famous publications was The Fakir of Jangira, a metrical tale and other poems, which included The Fakir of Jangira and To India, My Native Land. One more publication of his was the poetical works of Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, which included To the Pupils of the Hindu College. To India, My Native Land is a patriotic poem. It was published in 1828 in his book The Fakir of Jangira, a metrical tale and other poems. It was written during the Bengal Renaissance and has been identified as one of the first written examples of Indian nationalism. This poem talks about patriotism and love for freedom. It reflects Derozio's immense love for India, and in this poem, he expresses his grief over losing the past glory of India. The poem is divided into two sections. The first section is the octave, which consists of 8 lines, And the second section is the sestet, which consists of 6 lines. The octave is divided into again two uh, quatrains, that is, two stanzas of 4 lines each. The first stanza goes like this: My country, in thy days of glory past, a beauteous halo circled round thy brow, and worshipped as the deity thou wast. Where is thy glory? Where the reverence now? Here, Henry Derozio is lamenting on the loss of the past glory of India. He says that before the Britishers came, the country had a glorious past. It had a beauteous halo, which means a circle of light, which usually is seen in the pictures of saints and angels surrounding their forehead. So, similarly, India was a holy land and was worshipped as God by the inhabitants. Uh, he praises the beauty and the holiness of the glorious Indian history and asks his country, where is thy glory and where is the reverence now? That means he is asking, where is the respect which this country used to deserve or which used to get. The poet is asking his country, where has she lost all her glory and respect. The second stanza in the octave portion uh, goes like this: Thy eagle pinion is chained down at last, and grovelling in the lowly dust art thou. Thy minstrel hath no breath to weave for thee, save the sad story of thy misery. Here he is comparing India to an eagle. So, in the past, India was called as the golden eagle or the golden bird because of its richness. Now, he says that this golden eagle has been chained. Eagle is a bird which remains free and flies high up in the air. But like a chained eagle which cannot fly, India has also been chained and enslaved. She is now groveling in the lowly dust. That is, he says that since India has been enslaved by the Britishers, the country has lost its past glory and high status and is now crawling on the ground. Minstrel here means poet. So, poets have nothing great to write about their country, and there is nothing to sing in praise of the country. Now, the poets can only write about the sad and pitiable state of affairs. So, there is nothing to praise except for stories of tragedy. Then we come to the second portion of the poem, which is the sestet and consists of 6 lines. Here again we find that these 6 lines can be divided into 2 parts, where the first 4 lines belong to the first part and the last 2 lines form a couplet. The sestet reads in this manner: Well, let me dive into the depths of time and bring from out the ages that have rolled a few small fragments of these wrecks sublime, which human eye may never more behold. And let the guerdon of my labor be, my fallen country, one kind wish for thee. So, since he has been lamenting about how India has lost its past glory, Henry Derozio now wishes that he could dive into the depths of time and bring out from the ages the glorious past and bring back the respect and status which India once used to get. He says that this respect and glory of India, which has been broken into small fragments which cannot even be seen by the human eye. And in return for doing this task, he hopes that he will be rewarded fruitfully. He ends the poem with a hope that India will soon have a better future. Let us now have a look at the central theme of the poem. The main theme in this poem is patriotism. Here, the poet laments about the loss of the glorious past of India. Since India has been enslaved by the Britishers, it has lost the respect which it used to get. And he now wishes that in some way he could bring back this past glory of India. He says that India used to be worshipped as a goddess, and he feels that the glorious period of India should be brought back to the consciousness of the youth of India. Let us now try and understand the central theme of the poem. The main theme in this poem is patriotism. Henry Derozio laments about the loss of the glorious past of India. He feels that since India has been enslaved by the Britishers, India has lost its past glory and respect. India used to be worshipped as a goddess, but he now wishes that this glorious past of India should be brought back into the consciousness of the young Indians, and we should try to bring back the past glory of India. Derozio is unhappy about the British rule in India. The British rule, according to him, brought slavery into the country and demolished the pride and identity of the country. He now wants to bring back the past glory of India. He feels that the only way to do this is by trying to acquaint the students again, to acquaint the young Indian population with the glorious past and history of India. And Henry Derozio now wishes that India is restored to its former glory. Let us now try and have a look at the structure and form of the poem. This poem is written in the form of a Petrarchan sonnet. A sonnet is a poem which consists of 14 lines. The poem contains of two different sections. The first section is called the octave or the octet, and the second section is called the sestet. The octave consists of 8 lines where the poet presents a problem. In this poem, the problem which is being presented in the first 8 lines is the condition of our motherland, that is our country India, under the British rule. The sestet or the next 6 lines usually have the resolution or the solution to the problem. So here the poet feels that the only solution to bring back India's past glory is that the young Indians are acquainted with the glorious past and history of India, and that they all work together in order to restore India to its past glory. The rhyme scheme in the first 8 lines is AB, AB, AB and CC. Whereas the rhyme scheme in the next 6 lines is DE, DE and FF. The poem is composed in iambic pentameter, where Each line in the poem contains 5 feet. Now, the different literary devices which have been used in this particular poem are as follows. As it is a sonnet, it includes various different kinds of literary figurative techniques. The poet uses personification where he compares India to a goddess. The poet also uses various metaphors, among which the most prominent example is India being called the eagle. So he says that just as the eagle which is chained cannot fly in the sky, similarly, India has been chained by the Britishers. Another literary device used in the poem is the rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is one where the answer lies inherent in the question. So, in this way, we can see that the poem To India, My Native Land is rich in the use of literary devices. To India, My Native Land is a fine example of a nationalistic poetry. Henry Derozio, in this poem, expresses his patriotism and his intense love for his country. I hope you liked this video. Thank you.